Everyone. My name is Matthew Reed. I'm from Space and Time Media, and today I'm going to be talking about how Amazon is shaking up the digital marketing duopoly. So at Space and Time, I'm the group head of digital, and we, use all digital channels, and obviously a big focus on Facebook ads and Google ads. And so Amazon, for us, like many agencies, has come onto the radar in recent times, and it's definitely shaking up everything that's happening. I actually previously worked at Amazon before Space and Time as a sponsored partner manager, and so have a little bit of insight into what's going on their side, and hopefully can share all that with you today and look at how Amazon is really kind of making its mark in this space. Now I'm going to go through my slides and hopefully I've taken the instructions to stay in a nice quiet place. The irony of this is that if I am disturbed during this call at all, it's probably going to be because of an Amazon delivery and my dog going mad. So apologies if there is any barking in the background at any point, but hopefully we'll avoid that. So to start with, I want you to kind of look at Amazon as a whole, and everyone in the world knows Amazon. It's the largest business in the world now, and everyone knows that it's huge from a retail point of view, not necessarily from an ad point of view. But I always like to put some data behind this just to kind of really get in mind how big this is and where they're coming from. So global annual revenue for Amazon is 230 billion at the moment, which probably with coronavirus and everyone being stuck in and ordering more, I'm sure that is going up all the time. And in the UK alone, there's 39 million unique visits every month. So over half of the UK population visits Amazon at least once a month, which is obviously huge. Globally, it's about 2.15 billion unique visits a month, which is also huge. What is also mightily impressive about Amazon's footprint globally is that technically they actually only operate in 7 countries. They only have 7 different top-level domains, and the rest of the world has to use Amazon.com and kind of international shipping rather than having the whole fulfillment set up and the localized website. So it's something that people often forget, is that Amazon really are only in 7 countries technically, but yeah, 2.15 billion people around the world use them every month. Worldwide staff, which I was one of the cogs in this very big wheel for a time, 800,000 people worldwide. Bigger than a lot of militaries, and obviously with 800,000 staff means that in terms of coming into new areas and building out their offering, they can do it pretty quickly, and they have a lot of good talent to do so. And just because I find this fascinating, in terms of the number of products they actually sell, it's 3 billion different products worldwide, which again, considering not that long ago, really, they started off just selling books out of a garage. That's a big product base now, absolutely huge. And the one that we're kind of obviously interested in today, and in relation to Amazon taking on the duopoly of Google and Facebook, is advertising revenue, which last year was 14 billion. Well, and this is still growing, and obviously this is the main point of what we're talking about is how they're growing this and why they're able to grow this so quickly and encroach on what has been for many years a kind of closed duopoly of Google and Facebook, with not many people being able to come close to that. And before we go into that in more detail, I also like to show this alongside these great stats is, again, Amazon fundamentally is a retail juggernaut. It's an online retail site, but these days, Amazon is competing with everyone on all fronts. So whether that's AWS versus Google Cloud, or Amazon Pay versus Apple Pay, or Kindle versus Kobo, International Movie Database, which they own, versus, say, Rotten Tomatoes, they're on all fronts. And the interesting thing with this in relation to what I'm talking about today is all of these businesses that they've acquired over the years, so Twitch, IMDb, Audible, all of these businesses obviously are revenue driving businesses in their own right. They all have, either sellable services or events, different ways of monetizing. And that's great. But what also Amazon is able to do with all of this is build essentially a very, very large media network. And that's kind of, something I'll come on to later in the talk, is that outside of just the advertising on Amazon itself, what Amazon are building, in the background is a massive media network, from Prime TV to International Movie Database display to audio ads on Audible and Alexa, they're not just coming into the realms of search and ads on Amazon itself. They're breaching TV, radio, display, everything you can think of. And so, as well as the footprint they're making right now in terms of advertising, what we need to be aware of is they are very quickly becoming one of, if not the biggest digital media owners in the world, which is quite scary, but also allows for a lot of opportunities. Now, putting this into context of where they sit right now, 2019, that 14 billion revenue of ad revenue for Amazon, it puts them at about 9% of the US digital ad market, which 9% obviously is nowhere near what Google and Facebook have been, but that's really 9% in a matter of 4 years. Ads on Amazon, as we know them now, really only started in 2016. They did initially start in 2012, and they were kind of text ads that linked away from Amazon, but they were deprecated in 2015 and actually completely taken off the site. And what we know is ads on Amazon now have only really been around for 3-4 years. And so to have this kind of level of growth up to 9% of the market in that time is huge. And the thing that always sticks in my mind with this is, I remember when Bing and Yahoo did a real big push and tried to really encroach on the Google market years ago. And obviously they're still, Microsoft is still around today offering ads and still have a decent chunk of the market. But at that point when they really pushed, from a search perspective, they got up to, I believe, a peak of around 12% of the search market. And that was just the search advertising market. Amazon are already at 9% of the entire digital ad market, so videos, display, and everything, which is huge. It's a massive chunk in 4 years to take off Google and Facebook. And as Business Insider have here, the forecast growth is for that to continue up to by 2023, 14%. I would actually say that if you were to ask Amazon themselves, their ambitions would probably be a lot higher than that. I think 14% of the market would be amazing from an outsider's perspective, but for them, I think they would be they'd be hoping to grow even quicker than that. So again, the point of this is, we need to be very much aware of that. And why it's so important for us as a digital agency and for other digital agencies is, a lot of us currently don't work with Amazon ads at all, or have very little experience in it. Yet when we look at where this incremental spend on Amazon is going to come from, it kind of comes from our other products. So there's a great study by Third Door Media where basically they found that 80% of advertisers plan to increase their Amazon budgets in the next year. And then in terms of where they're going to get those budgets from, now the good news for agencies running it is that 55% of them said that would be incremental budget, so on top of everything else they're doing. But the ones that kind of make us sit up and take notice is that 20% say that they'll shift budget from paid social, 23% from display, and 30% from regular search spend, so essentially Google and Microsoft spend. And that's really, really important, because for agencies kind of with little or no Amazon offering, there's the risk of this budget being moved away and not being able to service that. Layer on top of that, not just the competition, say, from other agencies who might take that work, but also the fact that Amazon are not opposed to working with advertisers directly. They do work with a lot of brands directly and help them run adverts in-house rather than using an agency, whereas Google and Facebook would push you more down the route of getting a specialist to do it. Amazon aren't opposed to doing it directly. So again, it's really important for us to notice. And so the question becomes, how are they doing this? How are they getting such good growth, and how are they getting people to take notice and move budgets away? Well, it comes down really to start with their ever-growing range of ad products that they have. To start with, their main ads on Amazon, they have sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display ads. The two first being the main ones that you can see on that screenshot there, highlighted in green. Sponsored products, where we advertise an individual product. So you can just advertise one product on Amazon. When someone searches, they click through to that product listing and therefore can buy. And then sponsored brands at the top, where you can advertise multiple products from a brand, as well as a brand logo and a little brand message. obviously, the beauty for Amazon with these ads is that not only are they gaining the ad revenue when someone clicks, the user has then stayed on the site, and then they'll gain revenue when the purchase is made. It's a very clever system. It's very similar to the YouTube ad system in a way where the ad revenue is gained, but the user doesn't actually leave the platform. And these ads work incredibly well. They're high intent. Obviously, the users on the site are already there to shop, so you know that the users have high intent, and therefore purchase rates are excellent. Cost per conversions are very low. And at the moment, because they're not as heavily used as, say, Google and Facebook, on the whole, CPCs tend to be a lot lower. But they have a range of ads on the site. You know, there's also Amazon video ads that you'll see like this, kind of interspersed around the site. Billboard below the fold ads, where they kind of have key imagery amongst all the other products. Daily deals strips and offer listing strips at the top of the site, and marquee ads. So there's a huge range of ads on the site itself. This is before we go into any of their other media offerings, but there's a lot of ads available there, and therefore with more ad variations comes more revenue. Now, when we look at where that revenue is split for Amazon, you can see here, you know, basically 20% sponsored products, 15% sponsored brands, then sponsored display, video ads, and their programmatic. Now, that's quite interesting that it's relatively even in that point, and they're getting good growth in all areas. So their video ads are seeing good growth, programmatic, as well as their kind of search-based products. But actually, you know, the three search products, or the three kind of focus products on the site, make up about 57% of that ad revenue. And this is really where Amazon have been able to shake up the duopoly of Google and Facebook, is with these three ad types: the sponsored products, the sponsored brands, and the sponsored display, that sell products directly on the site. And just to kind of highlight how they're doing this and why they're becoming so powerful, if we look at, say, Google and Facebook, which have been the kind of two big powerhouses in this area for a long time, they both have their unique selling point that makes them different, but makes them work really effectively. Obviously, for Google, the big thing has always been high search intent. You know, the thing that Google has that Facebook doesn't have, and that a lot of other advertisers, let's think, you know, native advertisers like Taboola or Outbrain, or other display providers, or, you know, or video ad providers, is Google has that high search intent. People go to Google, they search for exactly what they want, and we're able to show them an ad that matches exactly what they want. And that's huge. That's always been Google's biggest selling point. Facebook, meanwhile, obviously what Facebook has had, and how they were able to encroach on Google, was their audience capabilities. The fact they knew more about people than Google did. Google knows a lot about us, obviously, and can gain a lot of information. But Facebook has users logged in all the time, that cross-device logged in, cross-device tracking capability, and real detail about what we like, how we do things, who we are as a person, whether we're married, single, what age we are, where we live, all of that. And so this is where the two have both been used. You know, you've got your high search intent versus your high audience intent as a way. And then they both try and encroach on each other. They both have video ads or product display ads, or display ads and different ad formats to kind of beef that up. And where Amazon comes in a way, is it kind of does both. So Amazon, first and foremost, has high intent. If anything, it potentially has higher intent than Google, because you know that users landing on Amazon are there to shop. Whereas people searching on Google might just be searching for information. They might be further up the funnel, even though they have the high intent of the search itself. So on Amazon, you have that high intent of people landing, knowing they want to shop, and then they search. So we know exactly what they're looking for. And at the same time, it has that mass of audience data that Facebook has. You know, Amazon knows a lot about us. It knows our shopping habits. It knows where we live. It knows how much kind of disposable cash we have as individuals. It knows so much about us. And I love the sum of that in a quote on DigiDay, which is, you know, Google has search data and Facebook knows interest levels, but Amazon has real power because it knows what people are buying and how they're doing it. And that is where they've been able to see such great results in there. They're able to offer e-commerce clients high intent and actual sales and reams of audience data. Now, sounds brilliant. And the question there would be, well, why on earth do they only have 9% of the market right now? Well, the thing is with Amazon, it's not all roses. There are some poor elements of it and some issues. For example, the interface itself, the ad interface is quite poor at the moment. And again, this is criticisms for people who are used to using, say, Google Ads. It was criticisms labeled, aimed at Facebook and Bing for a long time, that the interfaces just weren't good enough. Facebook's done a lot of work in that area. But Amazon, it's very clunky. It's not intuitive. It's time intensive in terms of doing simple tasks because of the way it's built. Even simple things until recently, if you created a campaign and wanted to change the campaign name, you'd have to delete the whole thing and start over again, which is just crazy, and people get frustrated with it. The data analysis part and extraction is very difficult. You can download CSV reports, but you can't really do any great data analysis internally on it. And although they have lots of audience information in the background that is great for targeting, they are not very keen to kind of give that audience information out. So there's not a lot we can learn from the data, which in a way makes optimizations very difficult within there. Ad testing, and I suppose testing in general, there are no real ads on Amazon at the moment in a way, because the ad is the product listing itself. So we can't really test, say, different ad headlines versus others, or different colors or different CTAs, because the ad is purely the product listing itself from a search and sponsored products point of view. And I guess testing going further, again, kind of with that optimization side, at the moment, their functionality is very limited in that there's no kind of day parting or bid adjustments by audience or remarketing features. And so the actual, as an agency and a manager of that kind of work, there's only so much that you can do. No search volume data, which is a big bugbear of a lot of advertisers on Amazon, in that it's very, very difficult to forecast budgets and forecast what you might get and see how big your audience size is on Amazon, because they don't give away any of the search volume data of how many people are searching for the products. And there's also the other thing of other Amazon costs. It might look great from the outset that CPCs are cheap and the cost per conversion can be very low, and we can get a lot of sales at a low rate. But obviously for the seller, they also have then all of the Amazon costs of the fulfillment costs, the shipping costs, all of that. There's very little third-party tool integration, so you're not going to get any of this data kind of pull into your Google Analytics, or if you want it in reporting systems, you then need to buy other tools to help pull that out. And yeah, there's very few advanced strategies that we can do. So whereas with, say, Google and Facebook, it's more and more about high automated bid strategies and kind of really going beyond regular just manual CPC bid management. There's very little of that with Amazon. And a couple of big ones to finish with. There's the loss of customer data. Fundamentally, I think most businesses would still rather have the customers come through their own website rather than through Amazon, because on your own website, you can then remarket to them, you can email them, you have them as part of your customer database, whereas on Amazon, you don't get any of that extra benefit from the sale there, because it all sticks with Amazon. And the final part is obviously endemic ads only. At the moment, and probably will stay this way for the sponsored products, the main ads on Amazon, it's only for advertisers who actually sell their products on Amazon. So, it's only open to e-commerce clients actually on Amazon, which kind of makes it inaccessible for a lot of businesses out there. Now, on these issues, what I would say is, this is why it's at 9% now, and this is why it hasn't grown even faster. But this is something we need to be aware of, because all of those issues there, Amazon are not blind to and will be working on very quickly. The functionality within the interface gets better every day. They add in new bidding features, new technology all the time. And I don't think it'll be long before they offer services to help people forecast better and help people understand what's happening better. There's already analytics for people who have stores, and they even have an Amazon attribution beta test running where you can actually see the attribution of Amazon sales on there. So I think they're answering that. And the final one there, the endemic ads only, because obviously that would be the kind of make or break for a lot of people, is if you don't sell your stuff on Amazon or you don't have a physical product to sell, Amazon doesn't play a role. But that is also something they're of course aware of, and this is where that kind of full media owner part comes in. If you look at where they're investing and what they're building out, you've got first of all, Prime TV. The Premier League this year, when they had the Premier League on in December, it was the first time any of the content on Prime actually had ads run over the top of it, which was huge. You know, it's obviously Prime is a paid for subscription, so then to have ads on top of that content they've never done before. But obviously that's an option for any advertiser, not just ones that sell on Amazon. Things like Goodreads and Twitch and the bigger network of websites they own obviously allows for wider display advertising through their programmatic arm, which anyone can use. Again, you don't have to sell on Amazon to use Amazon's programmatic DSP. So there's the option there. And then you've even got things like IMDb TV, which is going to be, it's in the US already, it's not here yet, but it's a free streaming service. So like Netflix, but for free, but it's obviously going to be ad served to generate revenue from that. And then you've got, multiple other ones, even sponsoring the packaging on Amazon. You can see there, The Greatest Showman. It's not sold on Amazon, but they can sponsor the packaging of it, or something like Treasure Truck, which is more of an out-of-home experience. And this is the thing, is that Amazon have managed to get 9% of the digital ad market, predominantly through a search product that is only open to retailers. They are building a mass media network that will be open from a programmatic end, a video end, even an out-of-home arm to it. And so it's something that we all need to be aware of, and that all businesses who are advertising will be able to get a part of. And so what I would say is, this shake-up of the duopoly is not just a kind of encroachment on the search area or the e-commerce area. Amazon are going to become a bigger and bigger player in digital ads overall. So again, when we look at this graph and we look at 9% now and getting up to 14%, that it will be huge in itself if they do. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're sat here in 3 years' time and it's much greater than that. So hopefully that was of interest, and I think it's a topic worth talking about. It's something we all need to be on top of. Always happy to talk about Amazon and what's going on there, as well as digital as a whole. So if anyone does want to reach out to me directly, my email address is there, mattreed@spaceandtime.co.uk. And if you have any questions about this particular presentation right now, you can tweet me at mattreed88. Yeah, cheers.